All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for few real people out there just like you, just like me. So apparently, I'm being discussed in certain chat rooms over on Facebook and fan clubs, just exciting stuff. 1,400 views on the video, and I'm the talk of Facebook. So something's up with the YouTube algorithm. Are a bunch of people seeing these videos, but yet I'm not getting credit for them? Before I go down that treacherous road, here's Eric Lovery, Twilight Dream, promoting new material. That's what this channel does. Dean Castronovo on drums, Eric and Beth Dixon. Just if you like Tom Petty and the Byrds, that kind of twangy stuff, this is perfect twang right here. All right. So if you like your twang, you can keep your twang and listen to Eric Lovery. Now, Foreigner, Lou Gramm. Okay. This is, I did this video a couple of days ago and I speculated, ballads were always part of the Foreigner repertoire. And then all of a sudden, ballads aren't good. And so the narrative is, and this is much like the narrative in Styx, is that, hey, Dennis DeYoung ruined Styx when he and they recorded Rubato, a song, by the way, the band is now playing, but of course they're rocking it up to make it better, because the way Dennis did it, the way it's appeared in commercials and all over the media, nobody wants to hear that version of the song. And the song in question is I Want to Know What Love Is, right? Now, I've watched a multitude of interviews, and when the song needs to be validated in interviews, it's validated. When the narrative about, hey, I didn't like the direction this band was going in, it created a rift, and so I did my thing, and then I left. And then I came back. And then I stayed until I couldn't stay anymore. And then I was told I needed to leave. Now, let's clarify something. 5 years ago, I was the number one defender of Lou Gramm. I had people say to me, what's wrong with Lou? He just, something's different about Lou. And I would say, you understand he had brain surgery, right? You understand he had this huge tumor removed, and it changed his body chemistry. And let's just be blunt, vocally, he sounds a lot different than he did prior to the surgery. And I was rooting for him. I was rooting for him to return and be his old self. He got better as time went on. But as far as being his old self, we have to be blunt. We have to be honest. That never really happened. All right. And I'm sure Father Time has something to do with that. Most of these singers, I talked about the 5 bands yesterday that probably should retire. I think in every one of those instances, it's hard for me to listen to the singer who's currently in those bands carrying the torch forward. Now, it's great for nostalgia. You want to see your heroes in concert? You want to get your lawn chair and you want to get right up close to the stage? Hey, that's the guy who sang Hot Blooded. I get it. Totally get it. That's cool. Maybe you want to meet him. Maybe you want your album signed. That's a good motivation. But as far as the truth about a specific topic, and in this case, I was bringing up the fact that it seemed inconsistent. Okay, this is my point of view. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Someone can step forward and school me and tell me, no, he just hated the fact that the band had become very ballad-centric. All right, but I want to know what love was or is. It's past tense. That song was a number one international song. It should have made everybody in the band a lot of money. All right. But you go back to 4 and 4. So what's up with Waiting for a Girl Like You? Is that garbage? Is Fool for You Anyway? Is that garbage? I mean, when did it get to be this was just not a cool thing, even though the band had always been a mixture of rockers and ballads from their inception? Mick Jones tends to be a very sentimental writer. He's a brilliant producer, brilliant arranger. Go listen to 5150 by Van Halen. Go listen to Stormfront by Billy Joel. Great production in an era where that was required to keep the momentum going for that particular artist. Mick Jones played a huge role in that. I'm not saying it's all Mick Jones. I mean, you need a singer, and Lou was the singer, and Lou was a tremendous singer. But this song didn't break up. It couldn't have broken up the band. I mean, because why would you come back if it broke up the band? Number one, because you realized, okay, this isn't working. And Lou had some success as a solo artist. And I remember Mick Jones critiquing and saying, hey, this kind of sounds like Foreigner. It's kind of like when Steve Perry went off on his first album and Neil Schon said, hey, this kind of sounds like Journey a little bit. Now, there were some variations, but I would say, yeah, I agree. You want to make this sound like Foreigner because people are familiar with Foreigner. And in the case of Steve Perry, you want to make it sound a little bit like Journey, and people will be more likely to just embrace what you're doing. Why reinvent the wheel? See, my point is, okay, and let me just interject some information. I spoke to somebody who's an industry insider and has been and has had very close connections with certain people in the music industry. And she told me, these rock stars, they purchase really lavish things, and they get married, and then they get divorced, and then they get married again. And getting married and divorced when you have a lot of money doesn't work out well for you. And whether it's alimony or child support or all the things that you have to pay out, that can consume a lot of your residual income. Now, this is industry-wide because women seem to be taken by rock stars. They seem to be smitten by them. And so, hey, let's talk to this guy. And then one thing leads to another, and then they're married. And then they say things like, hey, I can help you with your career. And then 2 days later, you're in a court somewhere, and it's not pretty. And that person, maybe they had good motives when they started, or maybe they didn't. That's the point. And it's easy in this world to think of yourself as better because look what I do. Even if you're not looking so good these days, you put on a few pounds, and, why would some beautiful person want to be a part of my life? You better start to think about that, right? Like, are they there for the right reasons? And maybe can I just hold off and not bring this person into my orbit? I mean, it's tough, right? Because you fall in love and then your life changes, and then you're talking about that person constantly, and they're sticking up for you and other people are tearing you down. So you confide in them. And anyway, to make a long story slightly shorter, the rock star lifestyle is not conducive to good money management based on the lavish lifestyle, based on I want all of these things and I have the money to buy them. And then there's the women, right? And if you look at the history of this industry, you go on Wikipedia and you look at was married to this person, married to this person, married to, and you're like, whoa. And I didn't know that stuff. So this person pointed this out to me, and I'm like, Now, I'm not saying that's the reason why people maybe hang on a little bit too long out there, because they have to pay their debts off and they have to just keep up with the payments. But again, it makes sense. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not purposely attacking anyone. And maybe it's none of my business, right? I mean, I'm too political anyway. That's what they said in the chat rooms. I used to watch that guy, but then he became political because he didn't think the pandemic was, real. No, I didn't say that. But whatever, dude. Just you make up stuff and yeah. Hey, everybody who's still on Facebook, by the way, and I'm over there. I don't use it, but I'm over there because I have a few connections, family connections, and there are people that use Messenger and they'll send me, articles and things, and it's another tool in the toolbox for me. But as far as me on there, taking pictures of my food, at least not recently. I think I did that one time, maybe a couple of times, like 5 years ago. And Facebook to me is the most censored place in the world. And so the people that are over there, they're just going to talk about innocuous pop culture. Oh, my old rock band, they're fading away. It's so sad, but I still love them more than anything else. And such a great place to be over here to commiserate with other people. Meanwhile, the world outside is literally burning. Okay. And why did I shift over to politics? Because there are more important things in life than talking about certain rock stars and all of that. And that's why some of the content here shifted. Now, I kind of have one foot in both areas, which makes it interesting because as soon as I start talking about politics, it's like, okay, click. That guy's done. I mean, couldn't he just talk about this great guitar solo? Well, I already did that. I already talked about the great guitar solo. I actually spread the word about new material, new music. All right, just holding up a CD, which means I either have to buy it or the artist has to be nice enough to send it to me, which in some cases takes a lot of effort. Just had a band send me a CD from Sweden. I care about the music a lot. And that's why when I hear a story about, hey, this broke up the band, this guy is imitating me too much. After 18 years, we figure out that Kelly Hansen, he's off his rocker, Kelly Hansen. He's a good singer, but I wish he'd get his own thing. Meanwhile, you got all these fans going to the concert wanting to hear the songs the way they know them on the radio. So, yeah, Mick Jones probably sat down Kelly Hansen and said, look, my job here or your job here is to sound like the record. Sound like the record. Give the fans what they want. So rare today in the music industry. And I'm not saying that Kelly Hansen is the greatest singer that's ever walked the planet or anything like that. He's good. I've always said on a scale of 1 to 10 for Foreigner, Kelly's probably an 8, 7 or an 8. But he's good enough to make it work. You're never going to duplicate Lou Gramm in his prime. And I've said this over and over again. Lou Gramm in his prime could be the greatest rock singer in history. You put him right up there with Steve Perry, Jimmy Jamison, who's my personal favorite. So no disrespect to Lou Gramm. It's just when a story gets out there and it has its own legs and it becomes the accepted narrative and a video has like 400,000 views on it. Mine's got 1,400. Okay. I'm being shadow banned, clearly. The other guy in question is clearly not being shadow banned. He's being boosted because everywhere I surf on YouTube, his stuff comes up. Everywhere I surf, I don't ever see my stuff come up. Very, very rarely. So, and are those sour grapes? No, it's because I started talking about politics. Clearly, it has to be that. I mean, some of these my videos don't deserve 400,000 views. I'd be happy with like 20,000, maybe 50,000. I've done a couple of interviews and I may do a couple more interviews that should garner some pretty big views. But when it comes to this issue, look, I'm just trying to put my toe in the water a little bit. I'm trying to keep a conversation going about this and maybe make people think twice about, okay, maybe Dennis DeYoung didn't break up Styx. Maybe somebody walked away and didn't try to patch things up and make things better. Maybe in the case of Foreigner, Mick Jones is brilliant. Maybe that's the case. Maybe his songwriting, his arranging, the fact that he puts out this song, which truly, again, was a one-of-a-kind song, and I'm tired of the song. And you have people like Robert Plant saying, hey, can you write me one of those? I mean, everybody should be celebrating at this point. Too much water has gone under the bridge to hold a grudge or to belittle somebody. And, to put out the narrative, yeah, Mick Jones is really sick. He's really sick. And then what's that designed to do? It's designed to keep people from going to see the band on their farewell tour. Most people don't care. And I know that irritates the crap out of people. It's sad that he's not there, or if he's there, it's a very limited amount of time that he's on stage. But if he's not doing well, or if he just thinks, hey, I've put in my dues here. I've done my time with this. I think he's going to be 78 years old, or may have already turned 78. It's rough. It's rough. And he's assembled a decent band, and they're out there, I think, doing a good job. People are still showing up, and they've got Loverboy opening up, which I think is a really great idea. And so see this band before it goes away. Would it be, what? Here's the bottom line. If Lou Gramm was like Rick Springfield, right? And I say that because Rick is like a biological miracle. Like he's a genetic marvel. I watched him do an interview the other day. He's got new material out there. He's 74 years old. And I'm looking at him going, he looks better than I do. Like way better than I do. And I'm not 74. I'm not even close to 74. Okay, so you've got somebody like that who is still fronting a rock band, who can still hit notes. And these songs aren't easy to sing. That's the other problem. Rick Springfield couldn't sing Foreigner songs, okay? But he can sing his own material really well. He was smart. He didn't try to hit every super high note. It's not like Just Between You and Me. It's just, in a certain range that's fairly easy. I won't say fairly easy, because then people are going to say I'm saying these songs are not challenging to sing, but he looks good. He sings well. And if Lou Gramm was in his prime, or was still able to do what he did, back in 1990, which very few singers can do that. Aerosmith, they're about to wrap up their career. Who knows if Steven Tyler can do what he used to do. He's done pretty well, though, late in his career. And again, I mentioned those 5 bands that should probably call it quits. And it's tough. Rock and roll is not meant for old folks. It just, for the most part, it's not. There are exceptions to that rule, but it depends on what genre it is, and is the vocal so challenging that it's going to destroy your vocal cords like 2 seconds into the song. Maybe you can do it in the car singing along to the song, but you're trying to project that sound out to a stadium. I mean, Grace Slick was right. She was right. She retired at like age 50, I think. She said, yeah, I look at these people and it's getting ridiculous. This was never meant for older people. Now, some people defy aging, and they still sound amazing. They still play amazing, and they can go a lot longer than other people. But the original issue here, which is, got the chat rooms all up in arms, is that I'm saying that maybe Foreigner broke up or had difficulties. Again, they did get back together again. What was it, 1993, 94? But I don't think it was the fact that these songs were ballads. I don't think it was because Mick Jones was hell-bent on just writing ballads. That's not what I think happened here. I think there was something more to it. And again, why do you show up and hang out with the guy at the Billy Joel show a couple of years ago at Madison Square Garden? Why would you do that? I don't know. Just, I guess, being a team player? Or is there a financial incentive? And that's fine if there's a financial incentive. From what I understand from my inside person, it's always a financial incentive. I mean, why would you do this to yourself? Why would you go out there on the road if you don't have to? And I mean, these guys, they live different lifestyles than most people I know. And some of it's great, Hey, if you want to spend, $10,000 a night for a hotel and all the things that go with it, have at it. If you've got the money, that's your business. You do what you want. But in the end, if you're creating a narrative and you're telling people this happened and woe is me, there's no need for it to be woe is me at this stage. Let's celebrate all the great music we did together. Good luck to those guys. I know they're about to quit. They're on their farewell tour. I mean, according to Kelly Hansen, everybody's welcome on his farewell tour. Everybody's welcome to show up. I don't know how true that is, but it's been said in the media. Kelly has said that, and I'm thinking he's probably serious, but I don't think it's going to happen at this stage. It did happen already, and everything, by the way, during that period seemed great. It seemed like everybody got along, and then we heard later on that there were a lot of problems with that. And so I said this in a video, and no offense to the fan club people, it's not that you can't be a fan of this guy or whatever, but it's just weird to me that later on all these things come out like, oh, I couldn't get a word in edgewise. He wouldn't stop talking about Kelly Hansen. Why go there at this point? Why go there to tell? Because the fans left that experience thinking, cool, everybody got along. Maybe they'll do this again sometime. It's kind of like when you're going after the prosecutor, just keep your mouth shut. Just shut it down. It's you might have better luck if you're not going down that road. But I don't know, folks. I think it's funny that they're paying attention to me because I'm not getting any views. So it's funny. It's ironic. I'm not purposely trying to stir things up to get views here. I just listen to what people say. Gee, it would have been nice if I had gotten a songwriting credit on the biggest song the band ever had. Because I'm sure that's financially very lucrative, obviously. And the song is, I'm sure, being played right now somewhere as I speak. Maybe in multiple locations at the same time, because it's one of those songs that's never going to go away. It's a lot like Don't Stop Believing. It just goes on and on and on. All right. Here's Eric Lovery, Twilight Dream. Really great album. If you like Tom Petty, like Tom Petty's second album, you're going to get it. That's what this kind of sounds like, mixed with the Byrds, mixed with a few other things. But Eric's a cool dude. Had him on the show. Dean Castronovo from Journey plays drums on this. In fact, Dean sent this guy over to me. So if Dean sends someone over, I'm going to pay attention to it. So thanks, Dean. And thanks to all of you for watching. This is a fairly long video. It's very tedious. And my mind is wandering all over the place. Thank you for all the chat rooms out there that are hating on me. That really makes me feel great and makes me want to just keep doing this forever and ever.